Right, let's get to it.
Well, I'll start with the Ghanaian Times this morning. There's a call for help here. Agnes Owusu needs help to undergo brain tumor surgery. This story is on page 13 of the Ghanaian Times. So if you run an institution and you have some CSR budget, you may want to check page 13 and go to the aid of this woman, Agnes Owusu. Now let's come to food. 2.4 million Ghanaians vulnerable to food insecurity. This is according to a new report. That's 2.4 million Ghanaians vulnerable to food insecurity, Kojo. Now, if you go to, still with the Ghanaian Times front page, 5.8 million Ghana Cedi Tetekwashi Memorial Hospital Dialysis Center inaugurated, and Hearts and Kotoko split points is on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. Now, the news center, infighting, media attacks weekend party. This is Baumia. Mahama swears in second deputy BOG governor. There's a photo of the president and Mrs. Matilda Asante Esiedu, the second deputy BOG governor. Minister threatens to revoke senior high school heads food procurement authority. This is the yes. Minister threatens to revoke the authority that senior high school heads have to procure food. We'll give you the details of that story.
Which minister, though?
Haruna Idrisu, the minister.
So the education minister.
Yes.
Okay.
MTN to cede 30% of Momo to Ghanaians as Mobile Money Limited transitions into a new company, and Fidelity Bank's 5.7 million Ghana Cedi CSR in 2024 benefit 26,000 Ghanaians. If you go to the Ghanaian publisher, JM. Touch not the anointed. This is Prof. Yanka writing. It's related to the the Chief Justice issues. Abronya and Ken are on the front page. You know that story already. Natoshi donates to a doom encounterment to fire victims, and A+ makes dramatic U-turn in AG corruption allegations. Now the publisher, the new publisher, so there's a Ghanaian publisher and there's a new publisher. The new publisher has a photo of Osahin Alexander Afenyo Markin, and it says Osahin makes history during a Boachiru festival, and he's the first Osahin in 300 years.
Yes, and he explained that the Osahin is basically the Safohin for both Asafo groups. Normally each Asafo group has their own Safohin, right? But in this case, he has been made the Osahin for both Asafo groups, and that is historic. And so that story is also here. If you want to get more on the Boachiru, just go to Joy News page and my Joy Online. There are stories on Boachiru and what happened over the weekend. Parties protest today against the suspension of the CJ. We'll bring you live updates on that. And NPP did its best. Blame no one. This is Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid. So, Kojo, which story should I start with? Should I start with food before we get into other stories online? Sure. Okay, let me go to page 11 of the Ghanaian Times. And the story here says that more than 2.4 million Ghanaians, representing 7.4% of the population between March and May this year, are currently classified as vulnerable to food insecurity, a new report has revealed. The number is projected to slightly decrease to 2 million people from June to August, owing to ongoing government interventions in agri and health sectors. The Food and Agri Organization defines food insecurity as a situation where people lack access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and preference for an active and healthy life. So what's your instinct about that statistic? Does it not seem understated? Because read the definition again. So the definition is that food insecurity is where people lack access to sufficient. So the question is, do we have sufficient food? What we have, is it safe? And is it nutritious to meet our dietary needs and preference for an active and healthy life? So the safe alone, the safe alone, how many Ghanaians are meeting the requirement of safe? That's access a good question to ask. That's a good question. Then you have nutritious. Now that is crazy, because look, even by its definition, our food is not nutritious. Just by their purest state, in their original state, all of them. Because in Ghana, I'll explain. Our foods are not described by the protein; they are described by the carbohydrate. Okay, so it's fufu, yam, rice, cassava, banku. It is described as such because that is always the largest portion on your plate. Yeah. Right? That in itself, having carbohydrate as your largest portion, is unhealthy. Any nutritionist will tell you this. So by its definition, our food is not, it's not in its most nutritious state.
right? If you go to other parts of the world, they say, "Oh, I had the fish, I had the chicken,
Yeah.
I had the beef,
Yeah.
I had the mixed
but
veg."
he's having fish, chicken, beef, mixed veg to go and sit in an office. But somebody needs to do and build like 5,000 mounts a day.
Yes.
This person must drop some abetia in a big bowl and
Uh-huh.
fire the thing to get the energy to work.
Is it nutritious?
No, but it gives them energy.
Is it nutritious? I mean, you are saying what it gives them, but I'm going by the FAO definition. Nutritious. Is it nutritious food?
Well, the nutrients they need at that point is energy, and the
where are
cows
your
will give you
fruits
the
and
energy.
vegetables? That's not. No. Come on. It's kind of like saying I'm drinking Red Bull.
Yes.
Because I need energy, and then I say that's nutritious. It's not. It's not. So mainlining sugar into your bloodstream because you need energy is not nutritious.
Could you?
That does it surprise you?
Could you? You are largely right.
Does it surprise you that the highest incidence of diabetes is in this part of the world?
True.
Yeah,
true.
because we are eating carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Like our main food is carbohydrates.
Yeah, but if
so
you go
how
to
is it that only 7% of us are classified as not having access to nutritious
now,
food?
you know, on the diabetes bit, if you go to the Volta in the northern areas where they eat a lot of greens, historically you realize that diabetes
Thank you.
You understand? So the food, the comparison between us and the West, we need to look at the nuances. We are much more active, so people will eat what gives them the energy, especially those of us who spend a lot of time in the fields. People want to start their day with some banku, some hard banku. You understand? So they get to the field and they get the energy to work.
Yeah.
So,
I get your point.
Yeah.
But I think we need to clarify that you can get that energy, but you can also ensure that you get your fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
It's about balance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't make the banku the biggest thing in your plate. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing in your plate. It's there. It's in your plate. So you get your energy. But you need to get fruits and vegetables as well, so that your body is not being it's not being disintegrated from the inside.
The fruits and vegetables.
You are not mainlining sugar into your system.
Who are not getting much of it. I can say that those of us in the rural areas, we are eating fresh mangoes, we are eating fresh leaves and all those things.
Which explains the lower incidence of such diseases in those areas, right? So
yeah.
really the point is simple. More fruit and veg. If you want to eat nutritious food, more fruit and veg.
Let me give you that senior high school story. Minister threatens to revoke senior high school heads food procurement authority. This story is on page 2 of the news center. It says the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has warned heads of senior high schools across Ghana that he will revoke the recently introduced direct food procurement policy if they fail to guarantee the quality and timeliness of meals served to students. So that's the reason behind that particular statement he made. Now, Kojo, there are some other stories in the newspapers. For example, there is this story, good news for Tetekwashi Memorial Hospital. They have a new center to treat diabetes and kidney related issues. It's here. It says a 5.8 million dialysis center for the Tetekwashi Memorial Hospital at Mampoikuapim in the Eastern region was on Friday inaugurated by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin.
Yeah, all right. Good news over there.